It's your host, Holly, and it's time for a little teaser talk. Today on Teaser Talk, we are sitting down with one of the most talked about names of the decade, but not for reasons that you might expect. There's a side of Joe for the world has really got to see. We're breaking down from the music, the mission, the love, and the lessons who shaped the man behind Tiger King. Welcome, Joe Exotic. How are you, sir?
Hey, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you giving me a voice.
I cannot wait to have your voice be heard on Teaser Talk. So, Joe, you've lived one of the wildest lives imaginable. I feel like your story, or at least the one that they chose to tell about you, was really a pivotal time during COVID. It's almost like you brought comfort and unity during one of the most uncertain times that we've experienced here as a nation. What's one thing about you that the world still doesn't know and they absolutely should?
Well, a couple of things that the show showed that kind of upset me and that people got the wrong takeaway from is one, I'm not a meth head. Okay, I don't know why they made me out to be this big meth head because I was the only one in the show with teeth and wearing clothes. And two, I'm not in here for animal abuse. I have never been charged or accused or convicted of any kind of animal abuse.
Yeah, and I will say that I agree with you 100%. I'm actually from Oklahoma, so I remember even as a child, the experiences that you brought to my personal childhood, let alone others. And it's sad though because, like you said, you've never been convicted of it. But it is sad because in Oklahoma specifically, there are a lot of people who still to this day are, abusing animals, especially exotic animals that don't deserve to be treated the way that they are. So it's just tragic that you're getting a lot of that backlash versus people who should be held accountable for it.
Well, and the crazy part is they put me in prison, okay,
Hmm.
and Jeff got the zoo, and then when he moved all the animals and everything to his new zoo down there by Thackerville, they raided his zoo twice,
Yeah.
and they confiscated everything from him for violating the Endangered Species Act and animal cruelty and animal abuse and not providing veterinary care. And he didn't get one charge.
Yeah.
That's what's messed up about this whole thing. So putting me in prison, passing the Big Cat Safety Act, done nothing for the animals. Not a damn thing.
That's awful, awful to hear. And hopefully, sometime sooner rather than later, justice will be served to those who truly deserve it. I will say, though,
We're
you've
hoping.
absolutely, I will say you've always had a big heart for helping animals and others as well. What inspired your passion for philanthropy, especially Operation Smile?
Okay, I've always been an advocate, and my magic show, which the world has never really experienced what my true magic show was about because Netflix didn't really cover that. But my magic show was about educate using the animals and magic to educate little kids to not bully other little kids and to stay off of drugs and alcohol. Okay, and Operation Smile is dear to my heart because for $250, a child can have an operation to fix his mouth
Yeah.
to where he wouldn't be picked on for having a cleft palate or what you would call a hair lip. Going through school and high school and being an adult, with a screwed up mouth.
Hmm.
And it's only $250 to fix one. Okay, so that was one of my favorite charities when I was out there. And since I've been in prison, I've still fixed 11 little kids' faces. And my goal when I get out of here is I have a platform now. I've never really seen how big it is. I kind of have an idea how big it is, but I have a goal when I get out of here to fix 5,000 little kids' faces.
That's amazing. And I don't think a lot of people realize how
This
many
call is
like.
from a federal prison.
That cuts you off a little bit.
Yep. Sorry. I was going to say, I don't think a lot of people realize just how many lives and also how many last wishes and acts of kindness that you've done over the years. What's your favorite memory of helping someone that still sticks with you today?
Oh man, there's a bunch, and when you meet a dying little kid, they stay with you forever. and that's what most of my music. If you look at most of my music videos, they're all wrote about the kids that were sick and dying.
Yeah.
But probably the one that touched me the most was uh, Alyssa Finley, and she had brain tumor cancer, and
Mm.
one of her wishes was to sleep with a baby lion.
Mhm.
So I sent a crew and a baby lion up to Colby, Kansas, and let her spend 2 days with a baby lion, and then I did the music video and wrote the song Alyssa's Memories, and they played it at her funeral, and me and her family to this day they're one of my biggest supporters.
Aw.
But there's so many little kids that I granted last wishes for that have since then passed away. I just wish that the world would have seen the real side of me instead of the TV part, because I didn't film for Tiger King. I was in
Yep.
jail 2 years before Tiger King was filmed, and Jeff Lowe broke in my house and stole my computers, and we were filming for a reality show. So everything that you saw was pre-filmed
Yep.
and scripted, to be reality. But I wish, a documentary is supposed to be about the truth, and
Yep.
that was the farthest thing from Netflix did was the truth.
I have a question for you on that is, do you have plans to share your truth and, it actually share your story anytime soon that we can actually see these amazing things that you're doing?
Well, it's hard from here.
Yeah.
There is a film company that I have working on the truth right now, but it's not going to be as entertaining to watch, and it's not going to be as good because, again, everything is pre-recorded.
Hmm.
Only phone interviews, and the government won't let me do an on-camera interview. There's people in here for horrendous crimes that
Yeah.
have got to do on camera interviews. Why the government has to shut me up so bad is a question that people should ask, because I've been denied every on camera interview. So the world has never seen the real me.
Well, I can't wait for us to hopefully hear and see your story, the real truth of Joe Exotic. So I'm definitely looking forward to that day when that can happen. And one thing you had just mentioned about you writing songs, you've dedicated a lot of songs to people who've passed, and you've written a lot of songs dedicated to those who've passed. If you were to make a new track today, what message would you want it to send?
Well, I've wrote a few songs since I've been in here that are on Spotify. I obviously my team used AI to sing them and the instruments, but the lyrics I wrote, and there's a couple gospel ones that I've done which I've never done before, and then there's a couple fun ones, like roasting wieners around the campfire.
I have listened to that. I've listened to that one just the other day. That's so funny. I love it.
and then the say no names is I thought was kind of funny, but there's actually a couple really,
This call is from a federal prison.
I wouldn't really say religious ones, but
Mhm.
like show me the light is probably the most deepest gospel song I've ever wrote. Uh, but yeah, they're all on Spotify. But
Beautiful.
what I'm hoping for, is to get out of here and go get George and move on with my life when I get out of here. But I have a couple goals. One is to fix 5,000 little kids' faces,
Yep.
and then I want to testify in front of Congress about what really goes on in prison.
Yeah.
And then I want to put on. I've been offered a world tour for my music, so I want to do three benefit concerts for free in the United States. One on the East Coast, the West Coast, and one in Central America, the United States. So I can thank everybody for the love and support, because that's what's got me through all of this.
Hmm.
But I wish more people would start asking the question, especially to Netflix, how come they had the evidence of what was really going on at that zoo with Jeff and Lauren and James of raping people and sex trafficking and bank fraud and all that stuff. They had the evidence and they had the witnesses, but they choose to cover it up and just make it all about people with exotic animals looking crazy. So, what's going on with the Epstein files right now is
Mm-hmm.
no different than what was going on with that zoo. And
Mm.
I won't shut up until the truth comes out, because the people that were ripped off and the people that were sexually abused by Jeff and Lauren deserve justice too.
100%. That's almost like I feel like that's a crime in itself, right? Like all the cover-ups and everything else, and those poor victims who were silenced or didn't get a chance to voice, what happened to them.
Right, right.
It's awful.
And I don't know if you went to the website and listened to the tape recordings, but Lauren secretly recorded Jeff while they were fighting, and there's phone recordings there that my lawyers have now of them admitting to raping people.
Mm.
Uh, but the crazy part is on season 2 of Tiger King, they not only admitted to perjury, but Alan, the hitman, took the film people to the zoo and showed them how the original plot was to kill me, not kill Carol.
That's awful. Oh my gosh.
Why
Well,
why am I still in here? How can somebody get on world television and admit to conspiracy to commit murder and perjury,
hmm and get
and
away
I'm
with it.
still here? The victim is in prison.
Yeah, and I know you faced a lot of hardships there in prison. Whenever, man, when you were in Grady County, we were pen paling each other. We're like, what's it called, gel mail each other, and you were
Right.
you were going through some tough times, like with health issues. How are you doing today?
Well, my prostate cancer is out of remission. And then they found
Mm,
shit in my lung. But I still get my blood infusions every month, like I've had my whole life. But
yeah.
my parents have died. I've lost everything. Went through a year of chemo and radiation. Locked in a 6 by 12 foot room, puking every day by myself. It's been hard. It really
Mm,
has. But again, it's the support from people all over the world
yeah.
that's kept me going for the last 8 years, because I get letters from Scotland and Iceland
Yeah.
and the United Kingdom and everywhere.
That is awesome, and I feel like George, your husband, has been a tremendous support of love and support.
He is amazing. He is
What?
amazing. And as bad as prison has been, and as much as I've lost in my life, uh, you know, if God put me on this path to meet Him and to make a difference when I get out of here,
Yeah.
meeting Him was probably a godsend for me, because He's amazing. And on the 21st of this month, we've been legally married a year. So
Aw.
our anniversary is in 3 days.
Well, happy
Uh,
early anniversary. That's awesome. What would you
but
say?
yeah,
What would you say is the sweetest or funniest thing that George has done for you lately that made your day?
we have a little bit of a communication barrier. But the best thing that he does, he never ends a sentence without my love at the end of the sentence.
No.
Everything he says, he ends it with my love.
Uh,
Which is amazing. But Holly, this thing beeped, which means it's going to hang up on us any second. So have everybody get on joeexoticofficial.com, and then I guess they've got a new website now called pardonjoeexotic.com, and sign the petition for President Trump to sign my clemency. Me and George send everybody around the world and everybody that's listening to your show our love and respect.
Oh no. Well, you guys, we have ended the call. It looks like we got cut off early, but you guys make sure to go send Joe your love, support, and yeah, I put the links into the podcast here that you guys can go and click and listen in on. And just much love and support to Joe, and awesome shout out to George, who's been there. It sounds like definitely as very much needed during this time of Joe's I guess this chapter of life. So listen in on all the things we just talked about. Those voice recordings sounds very interesting. The tape recordings that he was saying about. So I'm gonna have to dig into those. I personally have not heard them. And also check out his new music, you guys. The hot dog campfire one is a really funny one. It made me giggle.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to Teaser Talk today. And that was a very, unique interview. As always, you guys follow Teaser Talk, subscribe at Teaser Talk, and we will catch you guys next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Teaser Talk. Head over to teasertalk.com to subscribe so you don't miss out on another episode. Until next week, keep rocking.